My name is Maria. I am 62 years old, and today I'm sitting in a cafe in Tokyo, Japan. Can you believe that I still can't? When I ordered my first bowl of ramen this morning, the waiter bowed to me. I bowed back awkwardly. He smiled. I smiled. And in that moment, I realized something incredible. I was actually here, in Japan, at 62 years old. But how did I get here? Everyone said I was crazy. Maria, you're too old to travel alone. Japan is too different. You don't even speak Japanese. They were right about one thing. I don't speak Japanese. Well, except for arigato, which I've been practicing for months. This dream started in the strangest way. I wasn't even looking for a new dream. I thought my dreaming days were over. I was 58, recently retired from my job at the post office. My husband had passed away 2 years earlier. My kids were busy with their own lives. I felt invisible. Then, one rainy Tuesday, I was cleaning out old boxes. I found a book my grandson had left behind. It was about Japanese culture. I opened it randomly. There was a picture of cherry blossoms, pink petals falling like snow. The caption said, "Sakura season in Kyoto." Something inside me stirred. I had never felt anything like it. It was like waking up from a long sleep. I stared at that picture for 10 minutes, maybe more. I whispered to myself, I want to see this. I want to be there. My daughter Sarah came by that evening. I showed her the picture. "Look how beautiful this is," I said. She glanced at it quickly. "Yeah, Mom. It's nice. Did you remember to take your blood pressure medicine?" But I couldn't stop thinking about those cherry blossoms. I started watching videos online. Japanese gardens, temples, people in colorful kimonos walking through ancient streets. The more I watched, the more I needed to go. I mentioned it to my neighbor, Mrs. Johnson. "I'm thinking about visiting Japan," I said casually. She nearly dropped her coffee. "Japan, Maria. That's on the other side of the world." "I know," I said. "That's exactly why I want to go." She looked at me like I had lost my mind. Maybe I had, but it felt good to lose my mind over something beautiful. I started planning secretly. I didn't want anyone to talk me out of it. I researched flights, hotels, tours. Everything was so expensive. A trip to Japan would cost almost $3,000. I had some savings, but was this responsible? Shouldn't I save that money for emergencies? Then I thought about it differently. I had worked for 40 years. I had been responsible my entire life. Maybe, just maybe, it was time to be a little irresponsible. I opened a special savings account. I called it my Japan Fund. Every week, I put in $50. When I had a good week, I put in more. I stopped buying things I didn't really need. No more fancy coffee. No more impulse purchases at the grocery store. Every dollar went to Japan. My family started noticing. "Mom, why are you eating so much rice and beans?" my son asked during Sunday dinner. "I'm trying to save money," I said. "For what? For something important?" I didn't tell them about Japan for months. I was afraid they would worry. Or worse, try to stop me. I knew they loved me. But sometimes love can feel like a cage. The breakthrough came when I had saved $1,500. Halfway there, I was so excited. I called my sister in California. Guess what? "Linda, I'm halfway to my goal." "What goal?" she asked. "I'm going to Japan." There was silence. Then, "Maria, are you having a midlife crisis at 60? Maybe I was. But if this was a crisis, it was the best crisis of my life. The months flew by. I kept saving. I kept watching videos. I learned basic Japanese phrases from YouTube. Konnichiwa means hello. Sumimasen means excuse me. I practiced saying them to my cat, Mr. Whiskers. He seemed impressed. Finally, I had enough money. $3,050. I stared at my bank account for 5 minutes. This was real. I was really going to do this. I booked the flight on a Thursday morning. My hands were shaking as I typed in my credit card information. When I hit confirm purchase, I actually gasped. I had just bought a ticket to Japan. Me, Maria Rodriguez from Phoenix, Arizona. That's when I knew I had to tell my family. I called a family meeting. Everyone came: Sarah, my son Mike, my daughter-in-law Jessica, even my teenage granddaughter Emma. I have an announcement, I said. They all looked worried. I'm going to Japan, next month, for 2 weeks. The room went silent. Then everyone started talking at once. Mom, you can't be serious. Grandma, that's so far away. What if something happens? You don't know anyone there. But Emma, my granddaughter, said something different. Grandma, that's amazing. Japan is so cool. She was the only one who got it. The next few weeks were chaos. My family kept trying to change my mind. They brought up every possible problem: language barriers, different food, getting lost, being alone, being old. I'm 62, not 92. I told them. I raised 3 children. I survived your father's death. I think I can handle ordering sushi. Sarah made lists of everything that could go wrong. Mike researched crime statistics. Jessica printed out articles about Americans getting lost in foreign countries. They meant well, but they were driving me crazy. 3 days before my flight, I almost canceled. The doubt crept in. What if they were right? What if I was too old? What if this was a huge mistake? I sat in my living room, holding my printed boarding pass. Mr. Whiskers jumped on my lap. I scratched behind his ears. What do you think? Whiskers, am I being foolish? He purred. I took that as a yes. Go for it. The morning of my departure, Sarah drove me to the airport. She was quiet the whole way. At the drop-off area, she hugged me tight. Promise me you'll be careful, she said. Promise me you'll call every day. I promised. Walking through the airport alone felt scary and exciting at the same time. I had traveled before, but never internationally, never alone, never this far from home. On the plane, I sat next to a young businessman. He was probably my son's age. When he found out it was my first trip to Japan, he got excited. You're going to love it, he said. Japanese people are the kindest in the world. And the food. Oh, the food is incredible. His enthusiasm made me feel better. Maybe this wasn't such a crazy idea after all. The flight was long, 13 hours. I watched 3 movies, read a book, and tried to sleep. Mostly, I stared out the window and thought about cherry blossoms. When we landed in Tokyo, everything felt like a dream. The airport was huge and modern. Signs were in Japanese and English. People moved with purpose, but politely. Nobody pushed. Nobody was rude. Getting through customs was easier than I expected. The officer looked at my passport, stamped it, and said, "Welcome to Japan," in perfect English. I wanted to hug him. My hotel was in Shibuya, one of Tokyo's busiest districts. The taxi ride from the airport was like watching a movie. Neon signs everywhere. Buildings taller than anything in Phoenix. People crossing the street in perfectly organized chaos. The hotel room was tiny, but perfect. Everything worked. Everything was clean. There was even a high-tech toilet that I was afraid to use at first. That first night, I was too excited to sleep. I called Sarah to let her know I was safe. How is it, Mom? She asked. Different, I said, but good different. The next morning, I had my first real Japanese breakfast: rice, fish, soup, and pickled vegetables. It was nothing like cereal and toast, but it was delicious. The hotel staff were so patient with my terrible Japanese pronunciation. I spent 2 weeks exploring. I visited ancient temples and modern skyscrapers. I rode the bullet train to Kyoto. I walked through bamboo forests. I ate sushi made by masters who had been perfecting their craft for decades. And yes, I saw the cherry blossoms. They were even more beautiful in person, pink petals falling like confetti, families having picnics under the trees, children laughing and running, old couples holding hands. I sat on a bench in Maruyama Park, watching the petals fall. An elderly Japanese woman sat next to me. She didn't speak English, and I barely spoke Japanese. But somehow we communicated. She shared her tea with me. I showed her pictures of my family on my phone. We smiled at each other a lot. Smiles are the same in every language. But the best part wasn't the temples or the food or even the cherry blossoms. The best part was how I felt about myself. For the first time in years, I felt brave. I felt alive. I felt like the woman I used to be before I became invisible. I navigated subway systems. I ordered food by pointing at pictures. I got lost and found my way again. I made mistakes and laughed about them. I discovered I was stronger than I thought. On my last day, I bought gifts for everyone back home. Chopsticks for Sarah, a fan for Mike, anime merchandise for Emma, green tea for Mrs. Johnson. At the airport, waiting for my flight home, I felt different, not just because I had seen amazing things, but because I had proven something to myself. Age is just a number. Dreams don't have expiration dates. The flight home felt shorter somehow, maybe because I was carrying so much joy with me. When I got back to Phoenix, everyone wanted to hear my stories. I showed hundreds of photos. I cooked Japanese recipes I had learned. I shared everything. But more importantly, something had changed in how my family saw me. I wasn't just mom or grandma anymore. I was Maria, the woman who went to Japan by herself at 62. Emma asked me, "Grandma, where are you going next?" "Next," I laughed. "I'm still processing Japan. But secretly, I had already started thinking about Italy." Mrs. Johnson came over for coffee. "Well," she said, "you actually did it. You went to Japan." "I did," I said. "And it was everything I dreamed it would be, and more." She was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "I've always wanted to see the Northern Lights in Alaska." I smiled. "Why don't you?" Now, 6 months later, I'm planning my next adventure. And Mrs. Johnson is planning hers too. My trip to Japan didn't just change my life. It gave other people permission to dream again. My grandson called me last week. He's in college now. "Grandma," he said, "I'm thinking about studying abroad in Spain. But I'm scared." "Good," I said. "Being scared means it matters. Do it anyway." I look at that picture of cherry blossoms every day. It's framed on my kitchen table now. But it's not just a picture anymore. It's proof that dreams can come true, even at 62, even when everyone thinks you're crazy, even when you think you're too old. People ask me all the time, "Wasn't it scary traveling alone at your age?" Yes, it was scary. But you know what's scarier? Reaching the end of your life and realizing you never took any chances. You never chased any dreams. You never discovered how brave you could be. I'm 62 years old. I went to Japan by myself. I ate weird food, stayed in tiny hotels, got lost in subway stations, and had conversations with people who didn't speak my language. And it was the best thing I've ever done for myself. If you're listening to this and thinking about your own impossible dream, here's what I want you to know. Start planning. Start saving. Start believing. Age is just a number. Fear is just a feeling. Dreams are just waiting for you to be brave enough to chase them. I went to Japan at 62. Where will you go? Hey, everyone. If you enjoyed Maria's incredible journey to Japan, You're going to love the other inspiring stories we share here on English Stories with Alex. These real life adventures prove that it's never too late to chase your dreams and create amazing memories. Don't forget to hit that like button if this story inspired you, and subscribe to our channel for more heartwarming tales of courage, adventure, and following your dreams at any age. Share this video with someone who needs a reminder that life's greatest adventures are still waiting for them. What's your impossible dream? Let us know in the comments below. Until next time, keep dreaming and keep believing in yourself.